I'm looking at you, like as I'm walking towards you, and just like, hold on, let me close this door real quick and let this plane go. Give me a second. Like, no, I'm supposed to be on the plane.
You know what? You deserve
No,
it.
no, we're not going. No. But that being said, I need for you to be proud about my salsa.
I'm proud that you cooked.
No. The shade of it all. No, I need for you to be proud of my salsa because,
I'm proud of your salsa.
but let me tell you why you need to be proud, because I want you to be accurately proud. 2 of the ingredients came from my garden.
Oh, look at you.
Thank you. My
I'm proud
tomatoes.
of your salsa. Yes.
Thank you. My tomatoes and the jalapenos came from my garden. And I was like, you know what? This pandemic, this hashtag quarantine, stay at home, whatever stinks. But at least I made salsa with a garden that developed.
Because that's the light of this whole pandemic. We're in a pandemic, but you made salsa.
No, but I
Yeah.
made salsa from a garden that I
From a garden
started.
that you never would have started,
I
probably, if this
never
hadn't
would have
happened.
started.
Well, it's very rewarding growing food.
Yeah, it's the first time, I mean, when they, it's the first time in my life where I was just like, oh, okay, they will sit people from the hospital down. Like, no, you have to sit out for a second. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I did a garden and had great stuff. I had spinach, beets, cauliflower, mint. I had tomatoes and jalapenos
The
and
way you say
basil.
that word.
It's a tea. It's a tea. It's
It
tomato.
is.
Everybody says
Nobody says
tomato.
tomatoes.
Tomatoes. That's nice, not tomatoes. Tomatoes and basil and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that was the one thing that kept me from losing my mind before I could get let out the house and go back into the hospital. Anyway, I think I made a good decision about how to spend my time during the pandemic.
Because so many people are making trash decisions. No, you can't go wrong with growing things except relationships in this pandemic. In this pandemic.
As opposed to next year's pandemic. I mean, like in this pandemic,
in this pandemic, don't
like
grow
we get a
relationships.
choice of pandemics coming up. No,
No. I just people are gonna like. This is where we're gonna lose fans or something, because I have so much to say about relationships anyway.
You have a book worth.
I do, because I have a book.
You see that?
About relationships.
You see how
you're promoting me. I love that. That wasn't even a plan. I know I have a book about relationships, and what's so funny is that I wrote the book for single ladies.
Oh, the single ladies.
I wrote a book for single.
Wait, why
women.
are we doing the song? Why are we doing the dance?
We're not.
Yeah,
right. Because
mine ain't on, but hey.
Right. But I wrote a book for single ladies, and it was solely to help them avoid making trash decisions, right? And then this pandemic started, and then I saw where people were just like, well, dating isn't the same, and the other, blah, blah, blah. But they were still making trash decisions. Like, I was very confused. I'm just like, how do you make more trash decisions when you're quarantined? Like, I don't understand how that's coming together. Like this, so legit. Because you know the book. Because I wrote the book because of you.
Okay. That part you can edit.
Let's tell the truth. Let's shame the devil.
But you're right. Read the book. Book was great. Actually, you wrote it for me, but before you wrote it, I followed some of the things that you suggested.
You were the result of, so I wrote the book because what I had suggested worked on you.
Right.
Yeah, you were the guinea pig.
Happily married, no attachments. Almost
right,
14 years.
No entanglement.
No entanglement.
And interestingly enough, it wasn't even a book. It was just me making some serious suggestions.
Right.
that and they just kept coming and coming until finally, after it was all over and we were at your wedding, I was just like, I should write this down. So she is married to an incredible man, and I need to write this down.
Incredible. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I begin, I finally published it, after many, many years, and giving it to people, whatever. And the first thing that happened with this whole quarantine thing was that people were just like, oh, well, the book's not going to work because we're in quarantine. I was like, no, perfect, this is the perfect
But
like
wait, what were the
thing.
excuses? Why were they saying that it wouldn't work because of quarantine?
They
Of
were
course it would work
saying,
better.
they were saying, well, because they can't see the person. And I'm just like, well, no, that's what, like, we're not in the same. I was like, and I actually had somebody inbox me. They're like, what are we supposed to do now that there's a pandemic? Like, how are we supposed to do? I was just like, do you know what Skype is? Like, do y'all,
Oh my.
like, you know what?
Well, it's not
You literally have a Zoom meeting with your coffee and do the exact same thing that I say.
right.
And so then what's crazy is that, like, we keep going through the pandemic, and then I see this New York Times article, which, like, it blew my mind
The New
because it
York
was
Times.
the article in New York Times. I
Uh-huh.
don't remember the name of it, but it was basically talking about dating in quarantine.
At home during the pandemic dating or something.
Something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think
It
I
was
yeah,
something like
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
So so they were basically talking about, like, the different ways, but ultimately what they had noticed is that during, like, the peak of quarantine, there were more cases of people breaking their quarantine to go have sex with, like, random people.
I mean, wait. Did you say random?
It was between, like, random people and like partners that they knew, but that was just, like, the thing. Like, people were breaking their quarantine to go have sex or to go on dates. And I was just like, okay, but it would be like after, like, talking to the person for, like, maybe a month, maybe
Mm,
a couple of weeks. But my
mm,
favorite part of the article was the end where this girl, so I think the article said something along the lines of, like, but even dating in quarantine, where you can basically, like, FaceTime and do other stuff, it
mhm,
doesn't keep you from, dating dogs, is literally what it said. And it's just like, this woman, was talking to this guy for like a month on
mhm.
FaceTime, finally decides to meet him in person. They have drinks, one thing leads to another. She, the cookies jar gets emptied, right? And then he, like, stares into her eyes, and he was just like, you know what? If you lost 10 to 15 pounds, um, I'd break up with my girlfriend for you.
Wait, wait. 1, if you lost 10 to 15 pounds.
That was the first, right.
2, I would get out of a committed relationship for you.
That is what he said to her.
Wow.
But here's the
Wait,
thing,
how long did they Zoom,
a
Skype?
month,
3 months?
a
Oh, a
month,
30 days.
30 days. And I can
Yeah.
guarantee you that it wasn't like an everyday thing.
Wait,
And, we talk about the 90-day plan.
yeah.
That was, that in of itself goes totally against what I say in the book. And so I'm just like, wow, not to, no, you never
So
want, and I don't want
wait.
anybody.
So they did 30 days I'm streaming, 30 days of because I'm so, like, discombobulated with this story. So 30 days of Zooming or Skyping or FaceTiming or something,
Correct.
some sort of okay. And
We
then
we are
they
saying 30 days, but it was, we don't even know if it was an every day.
so
Because if you
it
say
happened in
30
a 30-day
days
period.
in a month, they said they talked via face video time
Right,
for a month, is what
right.
they said.
Wait,
A
and
month
then
could be like 4 or 5 times, 6 or 7
but we
times.
don't know, we don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know.
For the sake of discussion, we're gonna say they talked 29 of those 30 days.
I think you're being generous, but
I
okay.
think so, but, hey, they were in pandemic, I don't know, maybe they were at the house, maybe I don't know, furloughed, I have no idea. So we're just gonna say 29 of the 30 days. Then they met one day, and that same day, that was when there was no cookies in the cookie jar anymore?
Correct.
On that same day?
Yes, she went to his place and he grilled for her, he cooked for her. She took adult drinks and they were adulting with their drinks
Okay.
and which you know, and then they adulted some more and then he announced to her, by the way, if you was a little lighter, I'd leave my girlfriend for you.
Wow.
Which
Wow. Let me say this. Pandemic, first of all, can I say judge free, no judging.
this is a judge free zone because
Judge free.
I'm not even judging. I
I'm not
think though,
judging.
no, we're not judging. I think though that it should stand to be said though that we can. I don't even want to use the word criticize, but like be like, hey, maybe that wasn't a good
Suggest.
idea. We can make some
We
suggestions
can make some suggestions.
that would suggest that that was not necessarily a great idea.
No, and you can
That's
suggest
not
like
judging.
no,
I'm
it's
just
not
saying, hey,
judging.
sis,
We're not
maybe that
judging.
wasn't a
So,
good idea.
so just on the medical side,
Mm.
like,
About
well, and I don't, and that means that those 29 conversations they had in 30 days, which I'm just
that.
going to stick
Mm-hmm.
with that. I hope they had conversation about what would happen if they did come together an adult. Would they do this in a responsible and safe way? Because pandemic or no pandemic, everybody worried about the corona virus, but you know what else is still there? HIV, chlamydia, gonorrhea. Like they're still there. Like they didn't go away because of the pandemic. They just aren't talked about. So I hope they had that conversation of how to be responsible
But
and
here's the thing.
safe.
So
Pandemic or
you're
no
a
pandemic,
doctor.
you need to do that regardless. But
No, you're a doctor. You're a doctor. You are a legitimate one. You just don't play one on YouTube.
some days. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, no. You're
I'm
a
kidding.
legitimate board
Yeah,
certified doctor.
sure. Yeah.
You know better than to think that people are honest about
No,
their statuses.
but I
Come on.
can't.
Come
Okay,
on.
so I can't judge. I just have to take them for face value. I can suggest that if you're concerned, maybe you want to actually see some things on. Can I see the
On
actual?
paper. People forge
Can
those
you
things.
can you
Listen.
pull it up in
Listen.
your electronic patient
Pull up your
portal? I mean, you don't know the
electronic.
person.
I need to see your but listen, no, that's legit. Because if you think about it like this, how many times have you ever had a patient come into your office and you were just like, hey, this is a common question because you get it all the time when you're doing a checkup. How many times a day or do you smoke? And they're just like, no.
Well, I don't ask that question anymore.
What do you say?
Um, how much do you smoke?
You've been
Because
reading my book. You've been reading my book, girl.
you you asking people about smoking in a relationship book?
No, you don't
Oh,
you don't ask you have to ask the question differently.
you
You don't
do because
say,
I've learned
yeah,
that people who don't smoke are almost offended when I say, "How much do you smoke?" I don't smoke. What are you asking me?
right.
But people who do smoke are taken off guard because they're ready to say, "No, I don't smoke." Now they have to
Yeah.
make a decision as to say, "Okay, should I admit that I'm smoking and should I tell the real number?" No judgment, because quite frankly, if you smoke or you don't smoke, I just need for you to know what the risks are, and let's talk about some options of healthy habits. Okay, so let me put that
Right.
out there on the interweb of Disney Plus. But
Right.
um, but still, you made that up. But
I
still,
did.
that's the only way I'm gonna get the full picture of what's going on with the patient if I ask it in a way and I'm just doing it to help them. That's it.
Listen,
You're a
I'm
guest.
on. This is how unprepared I am for this conversation because I don't even have the book close by. That's legit on a page where I'm just like, don't ask yes or no questions.
No.
Be like, you know, don't say, do you have children? Be like, no, how many kids do you have? I don't have kids. Boom. As opposed to, how many kids do you have? 3? Wait, what?
How many kids
What
live
did
with
you
you?
just say?
7? Okay, okay, okay.
Right.
All right.
How many so going back, you're right. Like a lot of people don't think about like, hey, maybe we need to see proof of this
No, yeah,
somewhere other than what came out of your laser printer.
yeah. If it, because the thing about it is, I think in the end, people sometimes take adulting lightly, as if there are no consequences associated with it.
Right.
And then they end up in people's offices like mine talking about it was just one time, you know. But there's some planning that needs to take in place, to be responsible. No judgment. That being said, I'm not sure how that person was able to discern that spirit of that guy. Like, did she
Well,
not
no,
hear
it's not that. It's
anything?
not that. It's not that. You
Okay.
don't. You don't. So okay. So this is gonna get, and I hope like it blows up the comment section. You don't empty the cookie jar after a month, and that's not some old. That's not some old. Like I don't even suggest you at anybody's apartment after a month. I don't even suggest, ladies, uh, and gentlemen.
How about, thank you.
How about
Thank
that?
you.
Everybody. This is not just like a woman for everybody. Everybody. Whatever your pronoun is. Here's the deal.
Thank you.
Listen, you have to. There's a type of vetting that I think is lost on people when they're lonely, and I think that's what happened to the young lady. It's this pandemic revealed several things, but loneliness got the best of a lot of people that didn't have partners or were not in relationships. And so, when you're kind of starved for like that human contact,
Hmm.
then anything anybody says will sound fantastic.
Yeah,
But
if you just want that void filled.
yeah, to be filled. But if
Yeah,
you think
sure.
about a job that you work at, like you think about how long it took you to get board certified. They're not board certifying you after a month. I don't
No.
want no doctor that took them like 30 days and be like, here's a scalpel, go have fun. Like any job that you take on, there's like a probationary period before you do anything that is going to compact your life in any way. You're not meeting the CEO of the company before the 90 days. Like they're trying to see if you're actually going to work in this environment well. And if you do, then they can talk benefits. Then they can talk raises. Then they can talk salary for real. But I know people that started jobs and they're like a paycheck in the hole before they
Wait,
don't
no. First of all, they might need to consider talking about. I mean, a paycheck in the hole.
Yeah, yeah, I've known. I hope jobs don't do that anymore. But back in the day, yeah, you would have to work almost 4 weeks before that first paycheck because they trying to see.
That's most places. They're not gonna pay you up
Yeah,
front. Come
they
on.
not exactly. But see, that's what you're doing though. If you take
Oh,
30
oh,
days and then
oh.
give up the cookie, you paying people up front. Don't do
I
that.
see. I
Don't pay people up front. That's a hashtag. Don't pay
hashtag.
people up front. I'm seeding of substance before the end of the thing.
Don't
Like
pay
don't
people
pay
up
people up
front.
front, and that's what that is. And so you take that night because I'm sure that if you look beyond how you feel
Well,
and that void that you're feeling, and you begin to ask correct questions, there would have. I'm not saying that you would have ultimately found out, oh, this dude has a girlfriend, but you'd have known from the beginning, from early on. Like you can't 90 days, man. I'm telling you. Like it's like
so, but wait. Let me say this. Because first of all, it's easy for us to talk about, what you should and should not do when you have folk in the house. You know,
true.
this is the first pandemic in our lifetime.
That is true.
And it just so happened that we had folk in our house during this, especially the stay at home period, that initial when everything started shutting down in March and April. That being said, I think you said it earlier. The basics was, folk are lonely. So folk were lonely, folk were confused, all kind of mental health things were uncovered during the pandemic. Some people just realized, wait a minute, I have to be with myself 24 hours a day. I've never done that before. Who am I? I don't know if I like,
Right, but here's the thing: we
decisions.
could get off. We could get off of single people making trash decisions. during the pandemic when it comes to partners, and go to people who were together in the pandemic
There were some
making trash
divorces.
decisions.
There were some divorces that
They're
happened during
calling
the
them
pandemic.
COVID divorces.
Oh,
And it was people who I guess had been married for years. And then they and then they get in the house with each other and they're just like, "Oh wow, I don't like you in real life." Which is amazing. I'm telling you, it's in the book. I'm telling you, that's going to be my answer to everything for the rest of the day. For the rest of this whole lunch, dinner, whenever people are watching this hour, 35 minutes or whatever.
folding laundry.
Folding line, whatever. I'm telling you, it's all in the book. Because again, that to me was deeper, is when you have these people that are stuck in the house. Now you want a divorce and you can't leave.
Okay. What would you suggest? Because I don't think I have any suggestions. And I know for a fact that if I was single, living by myself during a pandemic, I would still want to socialize. I would still
I
want to grow relationships. Are you telling people don't get in a
No, no,
relationship
no,
at
no, no,
all?
no,
Don't.
no. I'm saying you have to approach it differently. You still have to go about this whole dating thing, however you decide to do it, the way you would do it in real life, with even more caution. Because I think what's happening is that people are making right now decisions and
Oh,
not decisions based off of
what happens when we get out of the
what
pandemic?
happens when we get out and everything
Right.
settles down and it's like 2023, and we're going to be like, oh, remember when? And now you're stuck with something you can't get rid of, like a kid. No, I'm kidding. You're stuck with your 3-year-old from that guy that looked great on
If he had lost
FaceTime
10
that one
pounds.
time. Right, exactly. But can you imagine though, like, say for the sake of discussion that, in that instance, let's say he wasn't honest about that and she had ended up, with of course I'm joking about the kid thing, but there are so many other tragic things that can happen, adverse things that can happen to a person when they are in situations, like that. She go to his house and he turned out not to be the guy that she thought he was, or turned
Right.
out to be some sort of, um, serial killer that
Psychopath.
actually happened to a guy. Because me and my crime scene investigation.
We can't, I try to avoid these conversations. Go ahead. I try to avoid them though.
You
If it's
know
something wrong,
me.
something's wrong with the right
No,
place.
listen. I could be in my next career when this theater thing in my 90s. I'm a side up to be an investigative a detective.
You have to get some training.
Yes, you do.
All right.
So
All right.
so there was this guy. He was on the computer. He was chatting with this girl. And he was getting to know her, this, that, and the other. They were finally going to meet in person. And this was over like the course of like, I think a couple of weeks. It wasn't
During the
long enough for
pandemic?
him to, huh? No. This was before.
Oh.
This was years ago.
Mm.
But he was talking to this girl and it wasn't very long. He was interested in her, whatever. He agrees to meet her for a date, shows up at the address that she tells him, gets knocked out and robbed by her boyfriend and tied up in their garage.
He went to her house?
Yes. Yes.
Number one, meet at
And
Starbucks or
well,
a restaurant.
again. So trash decision because he did not vet her, and it wasn't long enough for him to. He was excited about meeting this girl, and she turned out to be this con, and he ended up getting away. The
Oh.
next guy that they pulled that stunt on, they actually murdered. He
Oh,
was actually able to help the police catch them because he was a part of
is
the
it a
first one when they
movie?
tried. It is real life. I
Crime
only watch true
investigation?
crime.
No. No.
I only watch true crime stuff. It was real life. But I'm saying that to say it's that there was no vetting. Like, you have these situations where people are just like, my favorite line in any of those investigation discovery things is like, oh, they had a whirlwind romance and fell in love, in 4 weeks, or they fell in love, or 2 months later they were engaged. I'm just like, that barely worked in the 70s.
That being said, it can work in a short period of time, but you have to have a sense of discernment. You have to not ignore those. Um, he do something and you say, you can't ignore that.
Can't
And I
ignore
would say
that.
this. I would say for anybody who's trying to develop a relationship during the pandemic, remember the pandemic is not a normal time. Like this is almost a traumatic
Right.
event in the back of people's minds. So you probably need to be more cautious in making long-term decisions, but still stay social though. Still, talk,
No, you be
chat.
social because you can't
Yeah.
like for instance, your recipe getting for this also that we're just gonna allegedly believe was delicious. It
It was good. It
was good,
was too spicy.
but again, that's your trial and error, right? You're not
That is my
you're
trial
like
and
the
error.
salsa it was too spicy.
Right.
So next time I make the salsa, we're gonna have a little less of this and a little more of this. Do
Now
that. Like
I
do
agree.
that.
In transparency, this was the second time I tried the salsa with my jalapeno. The first time there was bubbles in it.
There was what? Bubbles?
Bubbles. Wait. There was bubbles because I think I blended it too long, so it almost looked carbonated. It tasted good,
Oh god.
but it liquefied. It had bubbles. I put it in the food processor.
Listen,
You can
we're gonna start judging. We're gonna start like putting your salsa as like as like dating experiences. So the
well,
first
this
one was
time it was
clear
better.
trash.
It had more chunks, just a little too much cilantro, so it really did. It looked like tabbouleh salad. And I
For
know tabbouleh salad
you.
has
Like,
spices.
cause here's what's crazy is that you could have easily served that to salsa to somebody else and they'd be like, Gina, this salsa is amazing,
No,
right?
no,
But
no.
for no.
We'll go ahead and let you use that example, but no, it was no. They were
It
like
wasn't good. It
tabbouleh.
wasn't good. They were like, let's do that. But right. So first salsa trash, second salsa not so trash, but a little bit trash. And you
Third
gotta keep
salsa.
making salsa, right?
Yep.
You're gonna keep it until you hit that right, until it's
I
right,
am.
right? You're not gonna commit to one salsa and end up with soggy chips and
No.
indigestion. Is what I'm saying.
Because of the bubbles, carbonated.
Because of the bubbles,
Yeah,
right?
I still
So,
don't that was weird.
folks, y'all don't be dating people ended up with indigestion. Is what I'm saying.
It's true. But you know what, that being said, that is separate from the pandemic. I mean, that's, you know, in 2025, if we're not in a pandemic, that should be still applicable to your life.
Whether you're by yourself and it's becoming a little too much, and then my heart goes out to those people. Whether you're an introvert and you live with people,
Yeah, then you
you
can't
know,
escape.
and you can't
It
escape. That my heart goes out to all of us. you know, if you're an extrovert, and so a lot of people. I think what we did take for granted in the social aspect of making. There it is. I know I should have finished that sentence, but it just dawned on me. Like I had a aha moment. We're making decisions under pressure.
yeah, under
That's
stress.
what it is. So
It's under stress.
and you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that in real life. Like
You
if this
shouldn't.
was regular life, you know that you cannot make emotionally based decisions under certain circumstances. You
Agreed.
know?
You can make them, you just have to approach it differently. Because sometimes you have to make a decision,
No,
but you
sometimes you
gotta approach
do.
it differently.
Sometimes you do. But there are other times when, if you have a lot going on in your life and then somebody's just like, "Hey, I need you to decide between what you're going to do for this next period of time." That's not a good time to
It
make
is
a
not.
decision. In 2013, our mom died in March. I did 6 shows in
That was
2013. That was a horrible decision.
yeah. I think
That yeah, that I ended up paying for physically, mentally later.
mhm,
And had I been thinking like, you know what, in this grief process, it might not be a good idea to do this, you know?
right.
And I think that's what people need to do. Just, hey, during this pandemic process, maybe I don't need to make a life decision on a mate right now.
Oh,
Like, maybe should wait a second, still talk to people,
talk
still
it
talk
out,
to the people,
right.
still
Connect,
FaceTime, connect, have Zoom dates or whatever, still do
chat.
all of that.
Yeah.
Have coffee over the FaceTime. Do that.
So we actually have had dinners with our friends because one of
Mhm.
the things that we like, we're so busy during the week. Work is just we just work. But on the
Mhm.
weekend, we enjoy meeting with friends and having dinner and family. So we had the Zoom dinners where they would set their table, we would set our table. They would cook, I would get carry out, and uh, we would set everything up. We would have our glasses, and the first 15 minutes or so, you're still trying to. It's kind of awkward because you're still eating in front of the camera until you realize I would normally be eating in front of somebody,
Right.
and it ends up into an hour and 2 hours, and so it's very effective, but you got to do it for more than 29 days out of 30.
And you
It's
being
just
generous.
the New York Times article.
Yes.
In the end, what did she decide?
I mean, she did. Oh, she didn't go back. I mean, she realized he
Okay.
was a dog. I would assume that she didn't go back because she's in a whole New
So
York
we don't
Times
know.
article. Don't go back, y'all. Don't go
Don't go
back to
back.
that. You deserve more than being somebody's second choice. That ain't even a second choice. That's a trash. That's just
That's not a
trash.
choice. I mean, folks are telling you lose 15, 20 pounds. I mean, if it's your cardiologist and they're just like, I'm gonna need you to, the whole
Right.
time about I'll break up with my girlfriend if you lose. You go on and
Oh,
keep the girlfriend. I'm not staying.
ask one of your questions. How long have you and your girlfriend been together?
How
How'd you know I had a girlfriend?
I know.
That's how you do it. That's how you do
How
it.
long you and your partner been together? You
How
need to
about
ask.
that? How long has your partner been together? That's what you
Yeah,
do. That's what you got to do now.
sure.
You gotta be careful out here in these virtual streets, man, and be honest with yourself. Like, no, there are certain. It would be very naive, I think, for us to think that there was not even a tiny clue that he wasn't on the up and up.
She missed it, or
Yeah,
she purposely ignored it and thought maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. That's a
and here's what's
complete
funny.
and what?
No, she didn't have long enough, honestly.
She did.
So people can fake it for the first month. Round day, like 37, 38, it's difficult.
It's
It's difficult. Patterns start showing up. I'm telling you, you gotta read the book.
very tough.
This
Is that
wasn't
the
supposed to be a commercial for the book,
substance?
right? This was supposed to be. This was you telling me about. Wait, or who started this?
I started the
You
conversation
making good
about my
decisions. You making good
jalapenos and
decisions about yourself
tomatoes.
while you're picking tomatoes and making terrible salsa. No, I'm sure it was delicious. Fish.
It was too spicy.
You'll get it right next time.
Imma get it
I
right.
I would probably maybe not put jalapenos in it then if you're trying to avoid spice.
I mean, I like jalapenos. I think I need to take all the seeds out, all the membranes out, put like a fourth of what I put in because I put a whole one in there.
Oh, well, and at that point, honey, it's just bell pepper.
It's
What is our seed of substance? Don't make trash decisions.
Yeah, but I think it needs to be more specific to specific to the pandemic. Don't make trash decision in during the pandemic.
Under pressure. Ding, 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 ding. Don't make trash decisions under pressure.
Don't lose weight for nobody
Don't accept your cardiologist, but don't.
except for your
Don't
cardiologist.
be nobody's. Don't be anybody's second. I mean, it the first way. Don't be nobody's second choice.
Don't be nobody's second choice. Let's go ahead and write that one out so your English teacher can see that one though.
Whatever. She told me I
Don't
wasn't a good writer,
be
so.
no.
Listen, I don't know if we did good staying on topic. I guess we
Uh,
started with gardening and ended in relationships. I don't know how we do this every
it,
time.
it all
It's
had to do.
fantastic.
It all had to do with the pandemic.
Hey, that makes us
Somebody's
awesome.
gonna watch it. At least Daddy will.
At least Daddy will.
Hey, Daddy.
Daddy. Girl, let's get this water.
I'm almost halfway done.
Oh, look at you
Yeah.
getting that water.
Same bottle all day though, so I gotta do better.
Bye.
Bye, girl. And I'm even more upset with the coach because at one point, if I could have punched the screen, it was just like, "I'm here with you. I'm with you." I'm like, "You're not." Because if you were, you would move my legs for me because I cannot.